everybody, it's Miss Mancini, and I am back with another First Chapter Friday. I know that things in the world have been quite stressful lately, and I want you to know that I've been thinking about you throughout the week and hope that you're ready to take a break with me today and listen to an amazing story. What I chose for this week is the first chapter of a fantastic book. It is called Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky. And this book is by Kwame Mbalya. This is published by Rick Riordan Presents. And if you're familiar with any of the Rick Riordan books, like Percy Jackson or Heroes of Olympus, you know that they're pretty cool and they're filled with a lot of fantasy and adventure. Now, with this particular book, you're going to notice right away there's a ton of action. This is an amazing scene on the cover, and it actually is telling some of the Western African stories that don't pop up in a lot of books. If you go to a bookstore, for example, it's quite easy to find a book that has to do with Greek or Roman gods, mythology, things like that. But it can be tricky to find Western African stories, and that's what this accomplishes. So you're going to see a modern setting with a twist as it relates to those older stories. I would like to give the publisher of this particular book my thanks for allowing me to read it today. This is by Disney Hyperion. Here we go. When you open up this book, one of the very, very cool things that you see right away is this map. And this shows some of the places that are key to the plot. I love when books put maps in, either in their pages or in the front matter or the back cover. I think it really helps bring the story to life. So if you decide to read this book, don't skip over that map. It is very important to the story. Chapter 1, Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mbalya. The car ride. There was a rhythm in my fists. Pop, pop. It told a story. Pop, pop. Everybody thought they knew the story. They'd seen it before. He'll get over it. It's a phase. Give him space. But they only knew fragments. They did not want to hear the rest. Oh, you do? Well, what if I told you that I went to war over my dead best friend's glowing journal? Or that I battled monsters big and small, with powers I did not know I had, with gods I didn't even know existed? Would you believe me? Nah, you wouldn't. You got your own problems. You don't want to hear about my struggles, right? Oh, you do? Well, I gotta warn you, it's a wild ride, so buckle up, champ. Let me give you some truth, and I hope it returns back to me. Tristan, they're here! Pop! Mom's shout interrupted my groove. I stopped pummeling the small punching bag Dad had installed in my room and loosened the grips on my boxing gloves with my teeth. The gloves fell on the bed, and I dropped down next to them. Eddie's journal sat on my tiny desk in the opposite corner, still glowing. Still unopened, since his mother had given it to me after the funeral 2 weeks ago. My room was so small, I could have reached out and grabbed the leather book, but that would mean dealing with it, and who wants to deal with their problems by choice? Not me. Tristan Strong! My dad yelled from down the hall. I hated that name. It made me appear to be something I'm not. My name should have been Tristan Coward, or Tristan Failure, or Tristan Fake. Maybe Tristan, how could you lose your first boxing match? Anything but Tristan Strong. Mom's footsteps echoed through our tiny apartment, and then soft knocking sounded on my door. Tristan, baby, did you hear me? I cleared my throat. Yeah, I'm coming. The door opened and Mom peeked in. She was still wearing the Team Strong t-shirt from last night. I don't think any of us had gotten much sleep after we came back from my first bout. I stayed up nursing my pride, the only thing I really injured. My little fan club, Dad, Mom, and my grandparents on my dad's side, had tried to cheer me up, but I could see the disappointment written on everyone's faces, so I pretended to go to bed while they held whispered discussions into the wee hours of the morning. And now it was dawn. Time to get this show on the road. Mom's eyes took in the organized chaos of my room and crinkled when they landed on me. She crossed the floor in 2 steps, avoiding yesterday's untouched dinner in the process, and sat down on the mattress. "It's only for a month," she said, not even play acting that she didn't know what was wrong. "I know. It'll be good for you to get away." "I know." She rubbed my head, then pulled me into a hug. "The grief counselor said it would be good to get a change of scenery. Some fresh air. Work around the farm. Who knows, maybe you'll find out you were meant to work the land." I shrugged. The only thing I was sure of was that I wasn't meant to be a boxer, despite what Dad and Granddad thought. I pulled free of Mom's hug, stood, grabbed my duffel bag, and headed out to start my month of exile. "Aren't you forgetting something?" Mom asked. I turned, and she held Eddie's journal out to me. Her hand and wrist were bathed in the emerald green glow that was coming from the cover. But, like everyone else I had shown the journal to, she did not notice any strange light. Mom mistook my confused frown for apprehension as she slipped the book into my bag. "He wanted you to have it, Tristan. I know it's tough, but try to read it when you can, okay?" I didn't trust myself to speak, so I nodded and headed to the front door. The decision to ship me to Granddad and Nana Strong's farm down in Alabama had been made without my input. Typical. My parents had talked about it a few times before, but after Eddie's death and my third school fight in the final 2 weeks before summer break, well, I guess the time was right. At least I had held my own in those school fights, unlike in the ring last night. It was just my luck that my grandfather had been there to witness my humiliation. "You outweighed that other kid by 7 pounds, Granddad had said after the match, in his growling rasp of a voice. "Set the family name back by a decade." That's me, Tristan Disappointment. Son of Alvin Wrecking Ball Strong, the best middleweight boxer to come out of Chicago in nearly 20 years. I had Dad's height and Granddad's chin, and boxing was supposed to run in my veins. I had worn Granddad's old trunks, and Dad had worked my corner. The Strong legacy was expected to take another leap forward during my first match. Instead, it got knocked flat on its butt twice. "You'll get him next time," was all Dad said, but I could tell he was let down, and that hurt almost as much as getting punched. "I see we have somebody that wants to visit us up here. So don't let this kitty cat distract you, everybody. But that's Elsa. She likes to jump on the TV and listen when I read." Let's get back to the story. An early summer heat wave greeted me with a blast of humidity as I left the apartment building with my backpack over my shoulder and my duffel bag in hand. Thick gray clouds huddled in the distance, and I added that to the list of totally not ominous things. Glowing journal? Yep. Storm on the horizon? You betcha. Dad and Granddad stood at the curb while Nana, no one ever called her Grandma, not if you wanted to eat, knitted in the car. Dad towered over his father, but you could see the family resemblance. Deep brown skin like mine, a wide jaw, in a proud stance. I got my hair from Mom's side of the family, thankfully, because both strong men had identical bald spots peeking through their short afros. "Get him in the fields! Put him to work!" Granddad was saying. "That'll put some fire in his belly." Dad shrugged and said nothing. To be fair, no one did much talking when Granddad was around. That old man could yak a mile a minute. Nana saw me coming down the stairs, dropping her knitting, and rushed out of the car. "There he is! How you doing today, baby? Are you sore from last night?" She gave me a hug that muffled any answer, then shooed Granddad to the side. "Get the boy's bag, Walter. Alvin," she said, addressing my father, "we've got to hit the road before that thunderstorm hits." Granddad looked up at me. "Is that all you kids ever wear?" I glanced down. Black Chuck Taylors with gray untied laces, loose khaki cargo shorts, and an even looser gray hoodie. That hoodie went with me everywhere. It had a picture of a flexed bicep on the back in faded black ink. Call me sentimental, but it's what I always wore when Eddie and I were hanging out. He called it the Tristan Strong uniform of choice. Perfect for all occasions. So yeah, I wear it a lot. Nana shushed him and pulled me into another hug. "Don't listen to him, Tristan. I can't wait to have you back with us on the farm. You were so little last time, but them chickens you used to chase still haven't forgotten you. I packed a lunch and even rustled up a new story or two for the ride." And so, just like that, with a clap on the shoulder from Dad and a hug from Mom, I was someone else's problem for a month. Goodbye, Chicago, and all your glorious cable TV, internet, and cell phone service. I hardly knew ye. And that's where we're going to stop for today, everybody. I really hope that you enjoyed the opening of this book. It's an amazing story, and if you have not read it yet, definitely check out your local library or your school library, or you can even go look at Amazon or Barnes & Noble and try and find it. Again, thanks to Disney Hyperion for allowing me to read this book today, and I hope that you check out Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky the next time that you're looking for an amazing book. If you haven't already, double check and look at the other videos that we have on our YouTube channel here. And I'll see you next week with another First Chapter Friday. Have a fantastic week.